This is unacceptable. Yeah, this is not okay. We just blew another major lead, a 15-point lead. And let's keep in mind, in the 76ers versus Nets game, let's keep in mind that the Sixers also blew a lead of 14 points. Not that I could find any news articles about this, probably because the 15-point lead against an inferior team, this is getting very annoying. This is legitimately becoming infuriating, just being a 76ers fan. And the Grizzlies collapse was worse because the Sixers blew a double-digit lead in the fourth quarter. Like a double-digit lead in the fourth quarter. Look at where we are. 7th place in the Eastern Conference. We were once 29-13. And since that point, we've won 6 games and lost 14. It's not even like a last couple games were that bad. Yeah, I know we're 4-6, but the Knicks have been doing worse recently, and they're better than us. Go over to the Western Conference, and you could see that. I mean, no team has really gone 4-6 recently, but there have been a lot of teams that have just been going 5-5. It's not like we've been doing even that bad recently. It's just been a horrible February, like a genuinely horrible February. My biggest rival, the Celtics, they're already in the playoffs. And the Sixers legit might not make it there, especially when you consider certain factors. So, first of all, why is this infuriating? First of all, we can look at Tobias Harris stats. My biggest criticism of Nick Nurse himself has been his refusal to bench Tobias Harris. And yeah, that's particularly damning in this game. I mean, look at these stats, and I get it. He was good against the Hornets, he was good against the Mavericks. And then he was back to sucking. Back to sucking. You know, he sucked before, he had 2 really good games. Now he's back to being horrible. And obviously, the Sixers fan, I have to, excuse the injuries. Looking at the 76ers injury report, it's extensive. And obviously, I can't say that I expect us to be a third place team when you look at the Philadelphia 76ers injury report. Which again, Joel Embiid has been out since the end of January. We have the Anthony Melton and Robert Covington out, though to be honest, they're not, they're like not that bad. I mean, not that great. And Maxey, who's also going to be missing out in the game against the Pelicans because he's apparently on concussion protocol. That was weird. What just happened to my computer? That was weird. And obviously, I have to excuse all the injuries, but the Sixers can't hold down big leads. And it's getting infuriating. I don't know if it's ever happened in NFL, I mean, in NBA history, that a team has given up 14 or greater point leads in back-to-back games. Because I'll say this. A 15-point comeback in the NBA is actually about as hard as a 15-point comeback in the NFL. In the NBA, obviously you can go on a great run, but it's hard because your defense and your offense both have to be firing on all cylinders. In the NFL, it's difficult because you have to, get a touchdown, force a stop on the other team, don't let them score any points, and then you have to then march down the field, or you have to consistently hold them to field goals while you're consistently getting touchdowns over a sustained period of time. And obviously, making a 14 or 15-point comeback in the NFL, not that hard. In the NBA, it's also not that bad, but you have to get several runs, especially when you're this cramped, and yet we let the Grizzlies do it. The Grizzlies, and this is another part of what pisses me off, because the 76ers will look good for a few games. Like we looked competent against the Dallas Mavericks. They're 34-28. They're the 8th seed in the Western Conference. They're not, a great team by any stretch of the imagination, but they're not that bad. And then you have the Grizzlies, who are a 22-41 team. The Grizzlies are awful, horrible. Their winning percentage, .349. They're going to miss the playoffs. They're guaranteed to, at best, have a 500 record. And that involves them winning out. One more loss by the Grizzlies, and they have a losing record. And it's only the 7th of March. And the Nets aren't as god-awful, but their winning percentage is still only .43. They're still only a 25-37 franchise, and we should be owning the Nets. Because look what happened the last time we went to playoffs against them. Look at what happened. And I get that back then we had James Harden to really help us out, and we also had Embiid. But look, we swept them in the playoffs. And the Nets have only gotten worse because at least last year, they were a playoff team who earned the 6th seed. And it's like this team, god awful. But genuinely god awful. Because we were the 5 seed and we had a chance to get that back. And now look at it. Yes, we do have tiebreakers over the Orlando Magic. They're also a game and a half ahead of us. So, simply expecting the Magic to fall out. Because look, Sixers versus Magic. We won these 2 games, so we have the series. But we're a game and a half behind them. And the Knicks, they're a game ahead of us, and they have the tiebreaker. The only way we could possibly get it back is if somehow we do really good and sweep the Knicks in our upcoming series, which I think we're going to get swept by the Knicks. The Miami Heat, they're a half game ahead of us, and they have tiebreaker over us. The Magic have been firing on all cylinders recently. They are 4th place. We just can't seem to pass the Knicks. Miami Heat, they're a better team than us. We're in play-in territory, and the Pacers have tiebreakers over us. Now, thankfully, the Pacers tonight are playing the Minnesota Timberwolves. As you can see, the Timberwolves are the best team in the Western Conference with 43 wins and 19 losses. So I think that the Timberwolves can win this game against the Indiana Pacers. But the Sixers are in real danger of falling to the 8th seed, where it's either you have to win a road playoff game just to play a manageable opponent like the Bucks or the Cavaliers, or you're literally going to be having to go up against the Boston Celtics. And that's assuming you don't lose to a team like the Bulls or the Hawks. And, well, we could look at Bulls versus 76ers. And the Bulls are a team that actually, won the series against Philly when we had Embiid. When we had Joel Embiid, the Bulls still beat the 76ers in that series. You could take a look at the Atlanta Hawks, and I'll say this, in both games, we didn't have Joel Embiid. But, I mean, in these 2 losses, we beat them twice, but we had Embiid when it happened. And the way the 76ers have been playing, you can't even count them, staying in the 8th seed. I thought when they won the 3 seed, they were going to stay there. When they fell to 5, I thought they were safe in 5. Now they're 7, about to fall to 8. And what's to say this? They're only 5 games ahead of the Bulls. There's still, 20 NBA games left to play. They could fall to the 9 seed. They could fall to the 10 seed. Falling to the 11th seed will be really hard considering how the Nets are literally 10 games behind them, but we've seen bigger collapses. This is a team that, without Embiid, has simply proven that it can't handle itself. I don't know. Joel Embiid might be leaving. He might be leaving. Because if I was Embiid, I would agree with this. This is a team that, no matter what it does, can't get their act together in the playoffs. And now they weren't even treating Embiid right with the proper medical care. I don't know what to do here. I really don't. The Bulls, the Hawks, they've been getting better recently. And the Sixers missing the playoffs is a real sentence, not something that you could really say back when they were, I don't know, like 29-13. So, looking at the 76ers, they've had winning records through all these months, and in January they hit their slump. Games 35 to 37 is when Joel Embiid isn't there, considering that's practically the Embiid show when he is. And game 43 is when he gets injured and they lose to Indiana. He misses all these games. Golden State is that fateful game where he comes back but then gets really injured and shouldn't have played. February is just a horrible month because they can only pick up 4 wins and they have 8 losses in that time. And then March we're 2-2 right now. But I don't know. I don't know how many more games we could realistically win, because our next game is against the Louisiana Pelicans. I don't know if we could see that. The Pelicans right now are 5th in the Western Conference, and they're 37-25 team. The Pelicans are doing pretty good right now. I see us taking a loss there. I see us getting swept by the Knicks. I see us losing to Milwaukee. That's a 6-game losing streak. And we're lucky if we can win one of these games. And this isn't even supposed to be the hard part of our schedule. Though we were supposed to get past the hard part of our schedule, which was the end of February. That was supposed to be the hard part of our schedule. Nets, Memphis, those are supposed to be easy teams. They are god awful, and we lost to both of them after blowing big leads to both of them. Charlotte, I think we can win, but we'll probably lose to Miami. The Phoenix Suns are a team that I could see us having problems. The Lakers could give us problems. The Clippers, we have a 2-game series against. Kings, I think we'll be fine against the Cavaliers. I think that will beat Toronto. And then this is just an agonizing end to the schedule. Right now, I see us picking up a win against Charlotte. I see us beating the Lakers. Are we gonna beat the Kings? Maybe. I gotta have some faith in my team. I'll say that we could beat the Kings. That's 3. We could probably beat Cleveland and Toronto, but knowing how this team's allergic to going on 3-game win streaks, I don't know. I'll just say that the oh no, that's not a 3-game win streak. I'll just say that the Sixers can pick up in March 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wins in the month of March, which we have so many more games to play. And in April, I don't even know if we could beat Memphis. I don't. I think that we could beat the Spurs. I hope we could beat the Grizzlies in Detroit. That's 3 more. And I'm just losing my confidence in this team. I think 8 more wins for the 76ers. That's 43-39. Obviously, 43-39 isn't the worst thing in the world, but it's probably going to be a number 8 playing team. And, all I'm going to say is we need to fire our medical staff, because our medical staff, they're just not doing their job. Our medical staff is genuinely not doing their job. And the Sixers are losing games because they didn't handle the Embiid thing right, and now we got fined. Fire our entire medical staff. And am I going to blame McNurse for this? No. I'm not going to blame McNurse for this. Because I think he's been doing a relatively good job coaching this team. And I will say this, when the Raptors won the NBA championship, they were a stacked team. He hasn't always played well. Look at how the Raptors have struggled in these seasons, and how they didn't play great. But Nick Nurse is a good coach, but he's had some faults, and they're just becoming an infuriating team that's bound to have a late season collapse. And they weren't even the first Philadelphia team to have this late season collapse. Look at the Eagles. The Eagles. I know football season is done, but look at this. The Eagles are consistently winning games, and then boom, boom. And at first, it's like, okay, the 49ers and the Cowboys, they're both pretty good teams. I'll show you the standings later. And the Seahawks, I was like, okay, they were a pretty bad team. As you can see, this win put them at 7-7. So you could clearly see the Eagles are, lost the game there, and Geno Smith is injured, and they're playing Drew Lock. But I could just see it as a fluke because it happened to the Niners as well. Beat the Giants, but this is a nail-bitingly close game, and you could pretty much see, I think, that when they got this easy touchdown off of an Eagles fumble on a kickoff return, I think that's when I started to realize what the moment the Eagles are broken. Because you could say different things. See, people say the Niners look the Eagles, but I disagree. Because every good team is going to have an embarrassing loss, even the 49ers. I think that the Cowboys, again, it's really hard to blame Dallas. Seattle, that last-minute drive, maybe, but the Eagles built themselves up to a 20-3 lead at halftime, which should have been greater if not for 2 touchdowns being nullified. We could have been up 20-3, which I know how infamous that is. And instead, we almost let the game slip away from us. The Giants pulled within 2. We barely escaped because we got a last-second pick in the end zone. And now you have to look at this, and then you have to realize how we lost the Cardinals when we were obviously screwed, especially because, again, we built ourselves up to a 21-6 lead at halftime, and we let the Cardinals come back. The Giants, where, again, half our team was injured, but we shouldn't have lost by 3 scores. It shouldn't have been a blowout. And, of course, then the blowout loss to the Buccaneers, where we could not even do something as simple and basic as, I don't know, convert on third down. Seriously. We could not get a single third down conversion all night long. We got a safety because I don't know what Hurts was doing, but we got a safety. It was just really painful. Really painful watching all of this. And this is going to be the second Philadelphia team that's going to be in prime position to have greatness and miss the playoffs. We were 10-1. We got stuck down here at 11-6. I'm losing my sanity as a Sixers fan. I really am. As a Philadelphia